I want to discuss with you those 5 mistakes that you'll wish to avoid when it comes to growing Fatsia Japonica. Japonica meaning from Japan, although it is also a native to southern Korea, and Fatsia from the old Japanese word meaning 5, which relates to the 5 lobed leaves. It does have 2 common names, which you may know this plant by better, and that is the Japanese Aralia. Makes sense. And also the false castor oil plant. The castor oil plant being Ricinus communis, completely different genus, but they do have very similar palmate green leaves. So let's get on with it. What is that first mistake you want to avoid? Well, that is to do with whereabouts in your garden you're planning to plant it. Now, these large glossy leaves, if you plant them in full sun, there's a very good chance that they will be at risk from being scorched. Not so much with regards to the green ones, but certainly with your more ornamental cultivars such as your spider's web, which is a really lovely form, or your variegata. But there are many other forms, but here in the UK you tend to just get those 3. So given the choice, you'll always plant your Japanese Aralias in either dappled shade or semi-shade. You can plant in heavy shade. In fact, the spider's web cultivar does perform really quite well in heavy shade. It will still grow and still put out that really lovely white variegation. You may be able to get away with planting the plain green form in full sun, but really I would like to see it protected at the hottest part of the day by the foliage of a taller plant above it. So there you go. Avoid full sun, especially for those more fancy varieties, because if they get scorched, it really shows quite badly. The second mistake to avoid is to expose your plant to overly wet soil conditions. You need to make sure that your soil is free draining. You don't want waterlogged soils. You don't want heavy soils such as clay. If the roots are kept too wet, it can be prone to picking up soil-borne fungal diseases, and you do often see these things just completely collapse and die. That is the reason why. So if you're planting it in the garden, consider planting it at the top of the garden, if you have a top of the garden, so that it's well drained. Consider adding plenty of organic matter, grit, anything else that will improve drainage should it require it. And the worst case scenario, if you are prone to waterlogging and your soil is terrible, consider planting it into a raised bed or a pot. But to be fair, if you're planting it in a pot, that pot is going to be at risk of toppling over as these plants get taller. So number 2, avoid waterlogged conditions. Keep the soil well drained. Consider it to be like a wrung out sponge, so it's still wet inside but plenty of air pockets so that the roots can breathe. They do need to breathe. You get the exchange of gases at the root cells, and if they can't do that, those root cells will die and the plant will die because it can't take in moisture. Before I continue, now that the gardening season is about to hit us fully in the face, you might be thinking about purchasing some items for your gardens. They could be bulbs, compost, pots, garden sundries, anything. And I can save you some genuine money. You Garden and I have joined forces, and I can now offer you 10%. Yes, that's 10%. Use this code. It will also be in the description. 10% off of absolutely everything in their store, including stuff that they really shouldn't be giving out that much of a discount on. The code is in the description. I will also put in a link to You Garden so you can find it without having to mess about. Terms and conditions will apply, as with everything in life. Anyway, there you go. It's a great promotion. 10% for free, honestly. Who's doing better discount than that? So let me show you this specimen that we have here. This is spider's web, and I've planted it under this tree, so it does get an awful lot of shade. And despite that, and despite being winter, you're still getting very good variegation. But this does cause a problem because it is planted in the vicinity of this tree's root system, which means that this tree will compete with this Fatsia during periods of drought. And this leads me on to my second mistake. So we've spoken about the problems that can arise if you're growing your Fatsia in very wet conditions, but you can also have problems by keeping it far too dry. They like to be kept regularly moist throughout the year. These are woodland plants from their native habitat, and as such, you have cool, damp, permanently moist conditions, but not really waterlogged because the mature trees within the woodlands suck all the moisture out. So if over the summer you are having periods of drought, you must go out there and remember to water your Fatsias. If you don't water them, they will characteristically wilt, dropping those leaves. If you don't deal with that as you see it, you'll start to get scorching on the new growth. I mean, God forbid you have all the new growth come through, get a period of drought, all that new growth will just dry up and die, and you've lost all that growth. You may well get a second flush of growth at the end of the year, but you would have lost a lot of size and ornamental value by not making sure your plants are watered at the right time. So there you go. Permanently moist, be aware of that wilt, and remember to water during periods of drought.
Oh, hold on a minute. If you're finding this video useful or even just mildly amusing, then don't forget to click the thumbs up, press on that subscription, and if you want to be notified of whenever we release a new video, then click on that notification bell. It helps us more than you know, and it allows us to do stupid visits like this in the future. Anyway, let's continue to find out what old boiled butt has to say. Put my bloody glasses back on. Too hot, too sunny. It's too lovely.
Mistake number 4 is to plant your Fatsia in either an exposed position or somewhere where it will be prone to being hit by hard frost. Again, your plain green varieties are going to tolerate this a lot more than your variegated forms, but strong winds can damage the leaves, especially the big mature ones are easily flapped about and broken. And the variegated forms, again, they can be prone to a lot of leaf damage in freezing conditions, especially with young plants. So if you live somewhere where you are going to be prone to hard frost, then consider wrapping your plants with horticultural fleece to prevent that frost damage. And also, can I just mention that when you are growing a big evergreen leafy plant like this, if the roots get frozen, then it will struggle to bring water in. And because these leaves are still on the plant, unlike a deciduous plant that drops its leaves, these leaves again can be prone to drying out. So it will be hit in 2 ways: the physical attack of the cold damaging all the cells, and also the roots not being able to take out water to replenish the leaves as it still breathes, photosynthesizes, transpires over the winter period. So just be aware of those 2 things. Mistake number 5 is to not keep an eye on your plant with regards to pests and disease. Now, we've spoken about fungal infections through the roots, so we don't need to go into that any further. But all that new soft growth that comes through in the spring can be prone to attack by woolly aphids, scowl insect, regular aphids, even red spider mite if you've got dry, poorly ventilated conditions. So keep an eye on that. And also, I've seen flipping slugs coming through and coming up and eating those too in the spring. So I'm not saying they're a bit of a magnet for disease, but you do see them. So just be aware. If you keep an eye on it, catch these things early, spray them with something appropriate or put in some slug management, you should be absolutely fine. The biggest problem that we've had here is cows. I'll show you the flipping damage they cause on my plants. Look at that, they broke through here. We've had to get it reinforced, this new fencing, got into this bit, And then look at the state of these poor plants. These were looking really, really well, and they've just eaten them to bits. Hardly anything left on them. My poor, poor plants. Ah, absolutely horrifying. I am going to throw in a sixth mistake to avoid. I don't do this very often, and it is to do with pruning. You might think it's spring, the plants are dormant, it's a great time to cut these back now, but you wouldn't do it with your Fatsias. You'd really wait until the end of spring, early summer, because you don't want the new growth to come through, because it's going to be extremely soft. Any late frost on that is going to kill it straight off. You can have this stressed out plant. It's going to go dormant. It's not going to grow very well. It's going to sit there with all its old leaves looking a bit flat and tired, and you have to wait really a few more months before it gets the energy together to put out new growth. So don't do that. Secondly, be very careful when you are pruning these plants, is because the sap can be quite irritable, especially for those people who are sensitive to those sort of things. And those are my mistakes to avoid. But if you've got any other great advice, any other mistakes that you should avoid with these plants, put that in the comments. We would genuinely love to hear from you. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the thumbs up. Hopefully we'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Right, now, just before you go, if you want to see more content, more behind the scenes stuff, and images that I've taken of some weird freaky plants over the years, then you're in luck, because we've created an Instagram page. So you can find the link in our description. You can find the link on our main page, and if I'm clever enough, I might be able to get a link somewhere up there. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more YouTube stuff, then check out this video here. That's quite a good one. And if it doesn't float your boat, then another one right there. And enjoy these while I still got the strength, imagination and aptitude to make them. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.